Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Fantasy TCG online locals. This is our second week of doing locals. Today, or for round one, we have Derek versus Levi. Now, I don't know what two decks these people are going to be playing, but I'm excited to find out. Opus 11 has recently come out, and you're seeing a lot of cool, innovative ideas. I apologize if I don't fill this time amazingly well. I've never commentated before, and I don't have a co-commentator, so I'm going to try to fill the silence with my own color commentary and analysis. We'll see if I can do it. One thing I've noticed, okay, we have Loosh, 2 CP lightning backup, job Kingsglaive. Put Loosh into the break zone, choose one forward, break it, your opponent draws one card. So this is actually Levi not playing. No, hold on. Yeah, Derek is playing the Kingsglaive deck. I've seen a little bit about the Kingsglaive deck. It's going to be probably an Earth Lightning deck that we're going to be seeing. Now, I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I think you're just going to get a lot of value cards and kind of flood the field. Alright, Levi is playing. He discards a Braska's Final Aeon from his hand to play Edgar onto the field. So I think this is probably going to be an Ice Fire 6 deck with Braska's Final Aeon. Alright, so now Derek's turn. He's going to activate, draws cards. Really interested to see both of these decks in action on Opus 11. Final Fantasy 15 is a deck that I really enjoyed playing before it got all this new support in the form of Kingsglaive and Aranea and Cindy. Now, one thing I've noticed is every time I want to say this anecdote, they start playing cards. So Derek's going to play Lua. He's going to get in a good, quick point of damage. And honestly, Alua is never a bad turn 2 play. Maybe not even a bad turn 1 play. She's going to give him some protections. Alright, he's gone to his attack phase. He's attacking with Alua. Oh, we hit an EX burst on Parum. Gets to add back a summon from his break zone to his hand. But all that's in there is Braska's Final Aeon. So he's not going to get to add anything back to his hand. Although, maybe that card should be treated as a summon. Alright, turn 4, we're going to pass it over to Levi. He's going to activate. Discards Artemisian. He's going to gain 2 Water CP. Water CP. So this is not Ice Fire. Plays Zidane. Let's see if he has a way to give him haste. Now Zidane, if your opponent has 6 or more cards, if you have 6 or more cards in your hand, he cannot be blocked. And when Zidane deals damage to your opponent, draw 2 cards. So this card is very scary. You need to deal with it quickly because getting hit by it once, not a super huge deal. Getting hit by it 2-3 times is insane. Alright, so we're going to play Shadow. Shadow's new Opus 11 card. When Shadow enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 backup among them to your hand and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck. Then play 1 backup of cost 2 or less from your hand to the field. This card is insane, and why I was excited to see Ice Fire 6. But Fire Water 6 summons maybe, since we're seeing Braska's final Aeon? Wow. Levi hits the Sage, which is going to let him give his Zidane haste. That is a stroke of luck. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, what I've noticed whenever I'm trying to record these videos, which is a new thing for me, is I become incredibly parched, and I just want to take drinks the entire time that I'm talking. So yeah, Levi plays the Sage off of Shadow's effect, gives Zidane haste. Zidane's going to swing in, deal a point of damage. Most likely. Ooh, he also had the Interceptor to give Shadow haste, so he's going to get 2 points of damage and draw 2 cards. Also develops 3 backups quite quickly. Alright, takes a point of damage. There's no EX burst. Draws 2 cards. Swings in with Shadow. Takes another point of damage and passes his turn. So what can Derek do to deal with this kind of insane threat? He definitely has to put out something that will be able to block the Zidane. Or to just kill the Zidane. Playing Lightning, though, dealing 3,000 damage to something is not too difficult. I just have to get him while he is active, probably. Shadow's special. Choose one forward, deal 10,000 damage. You can only use this ability if you've received a point of damage this turn. Now, that's actually pretty easy to get done whenever you're playing the 6 engine, since we have Dataluma and Sabin out now. Alright, it's going to be Earth Lightning. Derek plays Miner to the field. Let's see what backup he's going to get back. He's going to get Prompto back. One of them boys. Prompto and EX Burst. Whenever he enters the field, choose one forward your opponent controls. If your opponent controls 4 or more forwards, remove it from the game. When Prompto enters the field, choose one forward, break it. So that is one way to deal with Zidane. But maybe a little extreme right now, depending on whether or not Derek has any other answers to the Zidane in his hand. Alright, looks like we're going to discard Noctis and Aranea. Generate 4 CP to play. Kadaj. The new Kadaj is a card that a lot of people are debating whether it's insanely good or just good. So let's check it out. When Kadaj enters the field, select one of the 3 actions. Choose one forward, dull it. Choose up to 2 cards from either player's break zone, remove them from the game. Choose one forward until the end of your turn against 2,000 power and brave. At the end of each of your turns, you may remove Kadaj from the game. If you do so, at the end of your opponent's turn, play Kadaj onto the field. So Derek has elected to give his Alua 8,000 power and brave, which is really the only decision he had there. Wow, another EX burst for Levi. It is Terra, the starter from Opus 10. When Terra enters the field, choose one summon in your break zone, add it to your hand. He's going to add Belias the Gigas. So the reason that giving Alua Brave there wasn't a bad play was he had no other options really, and Levi is not going to have 5 cards at the or 6 cards at the start of his turn to make the Zidane unblockable. He also left open a Lightning CP to potentially try to shoot down the Zidane. Anyway, onto Kadaj. He dodges a lot of removal that most people would normally play. However, stuff like Alexander from Opus 7 or 8, I think it's 8, is going to probably see a lot more play to try to deal with Kadaj while he's out on the field to be dealt with. And he's always going to have a little bit of value, whether he's coming in and giving something 2,000 power and Brave like the Alua, or coming in and dulling something to get more of your forwards in for points of damage, and absolutely destroys decks that rely on the break zone. Oh, we've got an attack from Shadow, and Derek hits his first EX burst. Libertus, a new Kingsglaive character from Opus 11. When Libertus enters the field, choose one Category 15 character in your break zone, add it to your hand, which we know that he just discarded both Noctis and Aranea. If it's Nyx, select up to 2 backups, activate them. So it's not going to be Nyx, it was Noctis, which is going to be the Opus 8 Noctis that lets you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, add a Category 15 card among them from to your hand. Alright, so he ended his turn. He needs to bring back Kadaj. It's a new card and a new system, so I'm sure he'll notice. So we see that, for instance, Terra just brought back Belias from the break zone to add to Levi's hand. Kadaj against these fire decks that rely on Ifrita and Ifrits and summons in their break zone, he's going to really mess up the flow of their game by taking out those Ifrits and making the opponent have to really pay attention to their break zone. Alright, so Kadaj is going to come back, Dulzadon. And then also, Kadaj coming in and removing Vikings or Porums against water. Okay, he's gonna dull his 2 backups to play Noctis, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, add a Category 15 to your hand. This is a much less risky card now with the new Kingsglaive characters. See, 2 15 cards. So we've seen Lush, Nyx. When Nyx enters the field, put 1 job Kingsglaive you control into the break zone. When you do so, choose 1 forward, break it. When a job Kingsglaive other than Nyx you control is put from the field into the break zone, select one of the following 2 actions. Nyx gains haste until the end of the turn. Choose 1 forward, dull it. So he's going to take the Nyx. If he takes Nyx, breaks Lush, puts Zidane into the break zone, then he has 3 attackers. He's going to put Levi up to 5 damage very quickly. Alright, so he's going to discard 2 to play Gladio. His cost is reduced by 2 due to Noctis being on the field. So he's a 2 cost, 9k. which is sort of crazy. I do think that not attack, or not... So, there we go. He attacks, puts him at a 3rd point of damage, and Levi gets his 3rd EX burst of the game. He's going to target Shadow, giving him plus 1,000 power, and he's going to get to draw a card. Now he's at 6 cards in his hand, which is where Zidane becomes very scary. I think that he should have played the Nyx instead of the Gladiolus to break this Zidane. Hymn of the Faith is a very good song. Alright, so we're going to remove the Kadaj. Also, it's a you may remove. You don't have to do so if you want to keep Kadaj as a potential blocker. So now Levi is up to 8 cards in hand. I expect him to just go to combat and sneak this Zidane in for a point of damage and then get up to 10 cards in hand, which is kind of crazy. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Let's see if Derek can get an EX. He did not. He lost a Regis. Now Levi is at 10 cards in hand with 3 active backups. He is going to severely outvalue Derek right now. He's attacking with Shadow. Now, that's not really deceptive at all, in that he has Edgar up to give plus 1,000 power to Shadow, and he already gains 1,000 power from Interceptor. So he's a 9,000 right now, which isn't being shown on the card, and could potentially be a 10,000. So Derek goes up to 5 damage. He's going to enter the second main phase. He has to start playing some cards because he has to get down to 5 in hand, and he's at 10. Okay, he's discarding Layla. Gonna gain 2 water CP. Now he has to be careful and remember that... Oh, he's using Zidane's special. Solution 9. Choose 1 forward until the end of the turn. It loses 2,000 power for each card in your hand. So that is 16,000 power that Gladiolus is about to lose. Pretty crazy. But as I was saying, Levi has to definitely remember that Derek added that Prompto to his hand earlier. I can't see if he discarded it or not. He's going to pay 1 fire CP to play the new Ifrit. Choose 1 forward, deal at 5,000 damage. If your opponent has received 5 points of damage or more, deal at 8,000 instead. I think he targeted Alua? Yeah, he did. So that's going to pop Alua's Protective Bubble. First time she's chosen, cancel it. Next he's going to play Ace to deal 5,000 damage to Alua. He can pay 3 fire CP to boost that to 9,000, which he did. So Alua's bubble, having been popped, will take 9,000 damage and break. And he's going to end his turn down to 4 cards in hand. Alright, Derek is not in a great position. 2 less backups, 2 less or yeah, 2 less backups, same amount of cards in hand. He needs to bring his Kadaj back at the end of Levi's turn before he draws his cards, but we can forgive that a little bit here. Like I said, just absolutely parched. I don't know if I ever talk this much. Maybe I do. You guys would know, probably, those of you that have been around me. So coming up this week, we have the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know that a lot of people are worried about the logistics of receiving their game, whether or not it's going to be physically available in time. A lot of people are canceling their pre-orders to move to digital. You know, I just hope that everybody's able to get their hands on the game in a timely manner, and I really hope that everybody enjoys it. I played the demo, and I have to say, as somebody that was pretty down on the style of combat they were doing, it was super impressive to me. So if you're watching this and you're not one of the typical people we see at the Final Fantasy TCG locals at level 7 or at Aussies or wherever we play, I hope that this is giving you some insight into the game. I hope that maybe you're interested and you want to stop by. We have a... Okay, so we're playing the Nyx. We need to play Kadash. There we go. So let's see what he does with the Nyx. He's gonna most likely put Lucian to the break zone to break the Zidane, because if the Zidane does another point of damage, the game is essentially over at that point. I don't see how Derek could come back. Then I don't think that he can give... Well, he can give the Nyx haste, but I don't think that he can attack with all of his characters due to maybe Levi plays another Sage on a forward next turn. Okay, that gives him a blocker by buffing the Noctis and giving him Brave. I imagine that Nyx is going to target Zidane. No, he's going to target Shadow. Which means that the next turn, Levi's going to get in another point of damage with Zidane and draw 2 more cards. We can't see it here. I imagine that Nyx was given haste. He was. He's going to attack. Levi takes a point of damage, losing a Viking to the damage zone. Four out of 5 damage. EX bursts. Brawn. When Brawn enters the field, you may search for 1 job standard unit forward and add it to your hand. So, Levi is going to be searching for a Viking. Viking, whenever he enters the field, draw a card, leaves a field, draw a card. It's very good value, especially played off of Layla from Opus 6, a 4-cost water forward that whenever you play it, you play a Viking from your break zone to the field. He's going to attack with Kadaj to get up to damage 6. This is a pretty close game, actually. I think that we would have had a closer game if we would have killed the Zidane earlier. Or not a closer game. I think this game wouldn't have been close as it is. Again, first time commentating. Cut me some slack. If you are interested in playing the Final Fantasy trading card game, there is a tutorial on the Square Enix website. Maybe not their website. It might be FinalFantasyTCG.com. Either way, whenever this video is posted, I'll make sure a link to the tutorial is included. Wow, we have another Zidane special. He's going to kill the Noctis. Again, Zidane's special is Solution 9. Choose one forward until the end of the turn. It loses 2,000 power for each card in your hand. Levi's at 5 cards in his hand. If you're wondering how I know, it's down towards the bottom of the screen. Okay, he's gonna play an Ash. Ash is a modular card where you can select an effect during its time conditions, which is at the beginning of your attack phase. You can pick one of the 4 following actions. Draw a card, then discard a card. All the water forwards you control gain 1,000 power. Choose one character, activate it. Choose one forward of cost 4 or less. It loses all abilities till the end of the turn. Okay, so sorry, I had some questions. Zidane is attacking. I'm guessing that Edgar was activated due to Ash's ability. Just a little bit out of order. So he took the damage. And then he draw and discard. So Ignis on the 6th point of damage for Derek. Whenever Ignis enters, you may search for one card named Noctis and add it to your hand. So we have both of our players at 6 damage. So Derek is still searching, and he's going to play Belias to give haste to the Ash, and that is going to be game most likely. Unless Derek has a response in his hand in the form of a summon. And Derek takes the 7th point of damage, and Levi wins. So, thank you for watching round 1 of our Final Fantasy trading card game local tournament. Round 2 will also probably be posted shortly. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to round 2 of the April 5th Denver Final Fantasy trading card game locals. I am Brandon Harding. I'm going to be your commentator for today, and joining me is also Brandon Harding. Yeah, I'm by myself. We're going to see if I get any better from round 1 to round 2 at doing commentary. Alright, so we have Levi versus Lyle. We just had Levi playing his Final Fantasy VI Fire Water, and we have Lyle playing Ice of some sort. Ice Earth, because he discarded a Minfilia. So he discards Minfilia to play Chaos, and he discarded an Ice card to play Harley, I can't see what it was. Flan. He discarded a Flan. However you want to say it. Alright, so now we have Chaos to color fix a Harley to reduce the cost of Edward by 1. First turn, we're going to see a Zidane from Levi. We're going to see if he has the Sage to give it the haste. If you watched, I'm guessing he does. Oh, he's giving it haste with Belias the Gigas. Belias the Gigas. He's going to give Zidane haste and draw a card. If you watched round 1 or you're familiar with the game, you know what Zidane does. For those of you that did not or do not, if Zidane deals damage to your opponent, draw 2 cards. So he's going to go unblocked here. He's going to deal a point of damage and put Levi up to 6 cards in hand. Moving Belias to probably show Lyle its effect. Lyle took the damage, no EX bursts there for him. Let's see if Levi gets lucky like he did in the last game with, I think, 5 of 6 of his cards being EX bursts in his damage zone. An EX burst is whenever you take a point of damage, if an EX burst is flipped over into your damage zone, you get that card's effect without paying for it. It's your opponent playing your cards for you. Now, don't get me started on how I feel about EX bursts. Love them whenever they're mine. Hate them when they're not. Really hate them. So now it's Lyle's turn. I'm going to draw 2 cards. Ice Earth is a pretty control-based deck with a lot of discard from your opponent's hand effects and some good removal effects, some good searching effects. Discarding Shantoto and playing Ysayle. Ysayle is an ice backup that lets you search for an ice forward and add it to your hand. He's on 3 backups. I can speculate that maybe he's going to play or search for Sephiroth. Oh, Sid Reigns. That's actually a very good decision. So Sid Reigns, whenever Sid Reigns enters the field, you choose 1 dull forward. Dull meaning this position, like Zidane, and deal it 4,000 damage. If it is put from the field into the break zone that turn, your opponent discards a card. So he plays it, deals the 4,000, has to discard a card. He discards Terra. Moving so fast. The Terra that we saw last round, Fire, EX Burst, whenever she enters the field, you get to add a summon back to your hand. So that was a very good play by Lyle. I'd like to think that he's learned from me. So he's gonna discard, play Interceptor, and pass. Lyle's turn. He is sitting in a very good position. 1 backup up, 1 forward up. And he's going to attack with Sid Reigns. Moment of truth. No EX Burst for Levi, an Artemisian instead. And Lyle attacks and passes his turn. So, leaving those 3 CP up, Glacia Libolis, one of Ice's most prized possessions, is a 3 CP summon. A modular summon that lets you choose between the following effects. Ooh, we have a Zidane. When Zidane deals damage to your opponent, choose 1 forward your opponent controls, deal it 8,000 damage. He's also on a haste body. This Zidane is new from Opus 11. So if this damage gets through, he's going to destroy Lyle's Sid Reigns. Now if he has the Glacia, what he can do here is, oh, never mind. No Glacia. Anyway, had he had Glacia, he could have chosen to deal 7,000 damage to Zidane and make Levi discard a card, which would have saved his Sid Reigns and destroyed Levi's forward. Still not in a bad position. That Zidane is not too heavy of a character to be dealt with by a lot of ices, deal damage to dual forward abilities. For instance, if he had another Sid Reigns, that would be putting him in a good position. Glacia will obviously deal with it. And Zidane has no way to get under bigger forwards. So if he can put out a Sephiroth here, make... Oh, another Sid Reigns. Okay, so he's gonna bring Levi down to 1 card in hand, destroy Zidane. I don't know if he just drew that, or if he was sitting on it, but that was pretty lucky if he drew it. Not lucky, that was skilled. That was calculated. Alright, and then he's going to pass his turn. So one thing Lyle's doing here is he's playing very cautiously and developing his board sort of slowly in response to a very aggressive deck from Levi. He's really controlling the board right now. Alright, so Levi's going to play a Merlewib. And when Merlewib enters the field, draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card from your hand. It's a good way to cycle cards out of your hand and get new ones. So say he had another Edgar in his hand, who is a named character. He can get rid of that and replace it with something else. As for those of you that have never played Final Fantasy before, named characters such as Sid Reigns, a proper name, can only have 1 on the field at a time, whereas cards like Black Mage that have this 3-card icon in their nameplate, you can have multiples of. So he played Merlewib and passed. Lyle's turn. He's just going to go straight into the attack with Sid Reigns, not develop his board any further in case there's some sort of EX burst. Alright, Lyle's going to enter his second main. Dole 3 to generate 3 CP. As here where we're going to see the Sephiroth finally. Discards a Harley to gain 2 more CP. And play Sid Alstein. Sid Alstein has an effect that if your opponent has no cards in hand, you choose 1 forward your opponent controls and break it. So no value on the Sid Alstein effect there, but he gets out a nice 9k blocker in case Levi has another Haste Zidane that deals 8k to a forward whenever he deals damage. It's not a bad idea to have out a blocker. Now, I am very familiar with Ice Earth. I am not very familiar with the the Fire Water deck that Levi is playing. I think he said he built it in like 20 minutes earlier. So Shadow again, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a backup from them to your hand, and then play a 2-cost backup from your hand onto the field. So he completely whiffed with Shadow's effect. But Shadow does have haste and 8,000 power due to Interceptor. Edgar potentially boosting him up to a 9. I don't think that he wants to take that trade, though. He does not, excuse me, and passes his turn over to Lyle. Lyle's going to activate. Now, Lyle absolutely would want to take that trade and trade the Alstein for the Shadow. We'll see if he just goes straight into attacks and does that. It'll put him at 1 point of damage on Levi, and he'd still have a forward. But he has to be careful with attacking all out. He's going to dull 3, so there's 3 CP. Discards Flan, gain 2 CP. Play Kuja. So Kuja, whenever Kuja enters the field, you choose 1 forward or monster your opponent controls, dull it and freeze it. So freezing is an effect that makes it where when your opponent enters their activation phase at the start of their turn, that character will not activate. So he gets in 2 points of damage. The second point is going to be a Belias. So he's going to get to draw a card. He gives the haste first strike and plus 1,000 to Shadow, but Shadow being dull frozen is not a blocker or an attacker for his next turn. Lyle is playing a very patient game here, and it seems to be working out in his favor. And Lyle playing patiently is not something you see a lot. So I think he is taking this tournament very seriously. One reason he might be taking this seriously is we are playing for a cash prize today. It's not a big cash prize, but first and second place will both take home some money for their troubles, and I think he's looking to win some money. If you would like to play, go ahead and come play with us. Try to earn some money for yourself. Alright, so Opus 11, Celeste. This is a new card I'm not entirely familiar with yet. When a Celeste attacks, select one of the 3 following actions. If you have received 3 points of damage or more, select up to 2 of the 3 actions instead. Celeste gains 2,000 power. Celeste gains when Celeste deals damage to your opponent, draw 1 card. Until the end of the turn, choose 1 backup you control and 1 forward opponent controls, return them to their owner's hands. So, if he can give this haste and plus 2,000, that's not too bad. What I sort of imagine will happen is none of those things. I don't think he wants to give the Celeste haste. I think that the Kuja trade would be too good and advantageous for Lyle. Levi's thinking through how he wants to pay for his next move. He is at 2 CP. Okay, so he's going to give it haste and plus 2,000 from... Oh, never mind. He's just giving it plus 2,000 and ending his turn. I think it's so he won't die this next turn. So Lyle's reactivating everything. Lyle has 2 9,000 forwards. Levi has left open 1 water backup. Maybe we'll see a Famfrit. Famfrit being a 3-cost water summon. Both players select a forward they control and put it into the break zone. That's not really a card that I expect he'll be playing right now. So Lyle's dulling 3. I imagine we have to see the Sephiroth soon, right? Here it comes. There's 7 CP. He just moved the cards through this break zone, so it didn't count as CP. Yes, in Octagon you have to click discard 4 CP to generate the CP. There, now he's doing it. But here comes the Sephiroth. So whenever Sephiroth enters the field, your opponent discards 2 cards. When Sephiroth attacks and your opponent has no cards in hand, choose 1 forward, dull and freeze it. Sephiroth's special also reads, your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. You can only use it during your main phase. So that puts Levi down to 0 cards in his hand. Now what would be really spicy here is if he could attack through with the Sid Alstein, and then Renoa. Okay, he's casting Glacia. He's gonna dull the Celeste and freeze the Shadow. Okay. What I was saying would have been spicy was attacking through with the Alstein. Then in main phase 2, since he had enough resources in hand, using Renoa, who blinks a card away and then plays it onto the field again to play Alstein now that Levi is at 0 cards. Lyle at 2 damage, Levi at 6. This is a very different game from Levi's last game, where he was just generating tons of cards in hand through Zidane. But those 2 Sid Reigns plays were very good. Alright, so he's going to play a Porum. Porum, whenever it's put into the break zone, lets you add a summon back to your hand. If Lyle has any cards in his hand to dull some forwards, I think he's gonna get it this turn. If he has any cards to discard, he can also get it due to Sephiroth's effect, making him dull freeze a forward. Yep. So he's going to play Sarah. Sarah, whenever she enters the field, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So that makes Sephiroth's conditional ability live. And I imagine what he's going to do... he attacks with Sid Alstein first. Probably just going to see... He's testing the waters, see what he's going to block with. Of course, it's going to be Porum. Now, what is Levi going to add to his hand? All we've seen him play so far is Belias the Gigas, which will not help him very much right here. Well, actually, and if he plays it during attack prep, he's going to get to draw a card, and then Sephiroth cannot dull freeze the Celeste. Or actually, no, because he added Belias anyway. I'm dumb. He has a card in hand. Sephiroth can't dull freeze. My analysis there, very poor. I was not seeing everything that was happening. But that should have been why he attacked with Sephiroth first, to get the dull freeze on the Porum. So Levi drew 2 and passed. We know 1 is a Belias. He has the CP available for it. Lyle activates. Maybe he has another Sephiroth in his hand. Get the old Shadow Flare going. He's gonna gain 2 CP to play Scholar. Put Scholar into the break zone. Choose 1 forward of cost 3 or less in your break zone. Add it to your hand. Yeah, I knew it. So I think a party attack here might not be too terrible. Or actually it would, because he has the Belias. And the ability to super pump up his Final Fantasy VI forwards. So if you guys have any criticism, positive, not positive, I'm not all that sensitive, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know what I could be doing better. If me doing this better includes having a second person, I am with you. So Lyle is going to pass. He's still in a good position. If Levi is to attack with anything, he probably blocks with the Kuja. That way he can break some ice backups to add the Kuja back to his hand and replay it for another dull freeze. Okay, Levi's going to dull 2. Discard a Layla. He's going to have 4 CP available. He's going to play Caius. Caius is an Opus 9. Opus 10. When Caius enters the field, you may play one character of cost 3 or less. When Caius is put from the field into the break zone, select one character you control put into the break zone. He plays Sage. Gives somebody haste. Doesn't matter because he passed his turn right after that. He's basically just developing a board to try to stay alive. So even if he has Belias, if he can Sephiroth special, which he does, he uses Shadow Flare. Shadow Flare, your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. So he's going to Dull Interceptor to give somebody first strike and draw a card, but he's going to discard that card due to Sephiroth's effect. So yes, Belias lets him draw a card, but now Sephiroth's effect is going to resolve. And he's going to do it again. So the way the stack works in Final Fantasy is you get to interrupt the stack. So he is allowed to play another card before Sephiroth's effect is finished resolving. So he's going to play Belias, give 1,000 power and haste in first strike to Caius to make him a 10,000 power first striker. Shadow also has first strike right now. First strike is whenever they hit an opponent, they deal damage first. So Sephiroth can attack and can dull freeze something, but I don't think it's going to be enough. To get him game here. He has 3 cards in his hand though, so if he has another card that lets him dull, he can dull one of the 2 first strikers and then use Sephiroth to first strike the other. Not first strike, to dull the other first striker. Sorry, just got asked another question. Alright, so Lyle's just going to pass his turn. I'm very curious about what he could have in his hand. Another Cujo or Sid Alstein, perhaps? Oh. Here comes Abraska's final Aeon. I mean, what else could it be? He dulls 5 backups, make 5 CP. I assume he's going to discard a card here to make 7. And then play... Yeah, he discards Belias to gain fire. Braska's final Aeon. Okay, so Braska's final Aeon is an Opus 11 legend, actually. When Braska's final Aeon attacks or is chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, choose up to 1 forward your opponent controls, deal it 10,000 damage. This damage cannot be reduced. His second effect is whenever you have summoners, discard it, deal 10,000 damage to a forward. Wow, have not seen this card get played yet, and super exciting, has really cool artwork. Oh yeah, we got some fire tunes playing right now. Dragon Song from Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. If you guys have never played Final Fantasy XIV and you are stuck inside right now like many people are, I recommend giving it a try. I know it's on sale on the Square Enix store, and I know you can probably get like a free trial or something, but if I were to say the best Final Fantasy game since the PlayStation 1 era, it is Final Fantasy XIV. It might be better than those two. You know what? I'm just going to go out and say it. Final Fantasy XIV It's the best Final Fantasy. Oh, we're entering attack phase and we're dulling Braska's final Aeon and freezing it. So Braska's final Aeon now gets to deal 10,000 points of damage to a forward that Lyle controls. Let's see what Levi's going to choose. $10,000 points of damage to Sid Alstein. Now, this is dangerous because if Lyle has another Sid Alstein in his hand, Levi is currently at 0 cards. Which means that Sid Alstein will get his effect of breaking a forward upon entry. He has 5 cards in hand. We've seen one Alstein that I'm aware of. It's very likely that he has a second one. Yeah, here comes another Alstein. Alright, so Alstein's going to come in. Since Levi has 0 cards in his hand, he's going to break Caius. Caius, whenever he's put from the field into the break zone, has to break a character that you control. Since he has that free play character on entry, he has a cost on exit. I think that Braska's final Aeon definitely put a dent in Lyle's plans of winning. He's going to be incredibly hard to deal with. Alright, so Levi's going to play a Viking. Gets to draw a card. What Lyle really needs is a Glacia or something to dull. He's having a real tough time right now. He's going to play Vayne. Oh, that's good. He's going to keep Braska's final Aeon down and turn Shadow sideways. So Vayne, whenever he enters the field, you dull all the characters or all the forwards of cost 5 or more that your opponent controls, and they will not activate during your opponent's next activation phase. That not being a target will keep Braska's final Aeon down. It turns Shadow dull, so he can't defend and potentially get buffed up to 9k to at least trade with one of Lyle's Alstein or Kuja. So depending on what's in Levi's hand for these last 2 cards, I think this might be the turn it's over. So he's going to attack with his Kuja first. Levi's probably going to defend with Viking to see what he can draw. Okay. Puts him up to 3 cards in hand. Is any of the cards in his hand a way to deal with the Sarah after the Alstein attacks? Maybe Bahamut? We haven't seen any summons other than Belias in the 2 games that we've watched. Or I guess we saw Ifrit. So if he has an Ifrit in his hand, he can kill the Sarah to stop the last point of damage, but then he still leaves the Vayne out. He's going to use Edgar's ability to pump up Celeste. Okay, so he's going to have Belias in hand. So she's going to become an 8k. Belias is going to give her another 1,000, making her a 9,000. And Belias is also going to give her first strike. Never mind. That was actually just game. I didn't see that he'd taken the damage. He just buffed Celeste up for fun. So, thank you for watching. Oh, we get to see what's in Lyle's hand. He had another Sephiroth. Okay, I think he's just showing us a Sephiroth. He's just really excited for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, thank you guys for watching round 2 of the Final Fantasy trading card game Locals for April 5th. If you have any interest in the game, we will have a link to the tutorial below. And if you want to join our Facebook group, it is... one second. It is called... I should have had this pulled up. Final Fantasy Denver Card Game Denver CO. So look for us on Facebook. Join us. We'd love to have you play with us, and we'd love to teach you how to play the game if you're new. Thanks for stopping by. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to round 3 of Denver's Final Fantasy, the trading card game local tournament. This should be our final round. We have undefeated Lyle and Derek playing against each other. We know that Derek is playing a Lightning Earth Final Fantasy 15 deck, and Lyle is playing Ice Earth. So let's see how it goes. I meant to go get a drink before I started recording this game. I did not, so I'm just gonna have dry mouth this whole time I'm talking to you, so please enjoy that. Alright, I don't know. Alright, so turn 1, we have Lyle going first. Let's see if he gets that turn 1 Harley again. It's one of my favorite plays in the game. Alright, so he's going to discard Sarah, gain 2 ICP, play Harley. So yeah, he got that really good first turn play. Alright, plays Harley, passes his turn. Derek's going to draw. Discards a Prompto. And to what end is he discarding Prompto? That's a good question. Potentially like a Lael backup, maybe? But that's not going to further his Final Fantasy 15 game. Lael is just a 2-cost Earth backup that will let you cancel a summon of cost 4 or less. Alright, he's also discarding Nyx. Alright, to play Miner, so he's going to grab Prompto back. Miner lets you add a backup from your break zone to your hand. You can pay 2 CP, one of them being Earth, to break Miner and add a forward to your hand from your break zone. So essentially, Miner's a pseudo CP, 2 CP backup. He just happens to give your opponent a little bit of knowledge. Alright, so Lyle's going to dull Harley to gain 1 ICP. To play Edward for 1. So Harley reduces the cost of Edward by 2. Then whenever Edward enters the field, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. Then his special, Silent Verse, you choose 1 summon, cancel its effect. So to do a special in the Final Fantasy card game, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous videos, you discard a card of the same name. That's what the S stands for next to Silent Verse. So you discard a copy of Edward, dull him, and then you cancel a summon's effect. Alright, and Derek discarded Gladiolus. Alright. And Lyle's discarding to play Kadaj. We've talked a little bit about Kadaj in a previous video, but let's go over him again. Whenever Kadaj enters the field, you select one of the 3 following actions. Choose one for Dull It, choose up to 2 cards from either player's break zone, remove them from the game. And that's what Lyle elected to do, was remove Derek's cards from their break zone. But also choose one forward until the end of your turn. It gains 2,000 power and Brave. At the end of each of your turns, you may remove Kadaj from the field, which Lyle just did. And at the end of your opponent's turn, play Kadaj back. So you can keep doing those effects over and over. And after that, he passes his turn. So that's a very hard to deal with card, especially with, we know that Derek's playing Prompto. He has Nyx, but these are all cards he has to play on his turn when Kadaj isn't going to be there. So what he really needs is a summon, like a Titan or a Yojimbo, during Lyle's turn to be able to deal with it. Which Kadaj might make summons become a more popular card to be playing again. A lot of people are playing very few summons. They're not underpowered, so to speak, but so many forwards and backups are so good monsters. Alright, so Derek is going to play a Regis, and that lets him search for a category 15 forward and add it to his hand. Now is he going to search for an Ignis, which will let him... No, he's going to search for a Nyx. Anyway, Ignis would have been a card he plays that he gets to search for a Noctis. Then he plays the Noctis, he gets to add... Or he gets to reveal the top 2 cards of his deck, add 1 category 15 card to his hand. Now, that has a lot of potential in that once Final Fantasy 15 gets some summons, Noctis can also add those to his hand, any card type, whereas most cards that let you reveal X and then add X, none of them just say card. They normally say forward or backup, or some say character. Summons are also not considered characters within the Final Fantasy card game. So him saying Final Fantasy 15 card is big. And the more support it gets, the better that card is going to get. Alright, he moves Kadaj back to the table. He's probably going to elect 2,000 power and Brave. That way Kadaj can just get an attack in and run less of a risk of getting hit by a damaging ability. Alright, he's going to pay 1, discard Nagmalata. He's at 3 ICP to play Nagmalata. Nagmalata lets... I'm saying that probably entirely wrong, but lets him search for a monster and add it to his hand. So he's going to get Scale Toad. Scale Toad at the end of your opponent's turns, if your opponent has 2 or less cards in their hand, so anything other than 1 or 0, they discard a card. He's a very oppressive card at the start of a game. However, Final Fantasy 15 has Noctis, who we just spoke about earlier. His special is discard a Noctis and choose a monster your opponent controls, destroy it. So that's one out that Earth Lightning has to the Scale Toad. Alright, so he attacked with Kadaj, dealt 1 damage to Derek, and it was a Man in Black, which is a new Opus 11 card, which we haven't seen. Let's hope that we get to see it get played. Lyle passes his turn over to Derek. Derek activates, draws. So a lot of what Lyle's done so far is really just like a deprivation strategy. He's aiming to keep Derek from having resources. And then if he does expend those resources on a summon and the Edward is untapped, then he aims to cancel that, which deprives him of a play. It's a very gross board he has out right now, and as long as that Scale Toad stays out, he's going to put in a lot of work. And knowing that Lyle has Ice Earth, Earth having the Opus 1 Shantoto, which is a 7-cost backup, remove all forwards from the game. Hold on, just got a question. Anyway, he might overcommit to the board. And then he can Shantoto and really just put himself far ahead. Okay, so we got asked a ruling question for this game. That might be why you're seeing a lull in the action here, but that's been taken care of, and we're going to move on. Okay, so Derek plays Cindy, a new Opus 11 card. Whenever Cindy enters the field, you may search for up to 2 Category 15 forwards and add them to your hand. Choose 1 Category 15 forward, it gains Brave until the end of the turn, pay 1 Earth and Dull Hirsch, put Cindy into the break zone until the end of the turn. All Category 15 forwards you control gain 3,000 power. It's a very threatening card to see on your opponent's board. Now what he could do here with Cindy is search an Ignis and a Noctis, and then that will allow him to play the Ignis and search for another Noctis on his next turn, and then use the Noctis special to destroy Scale Toad. Alright, so he is searching a Noctis. And Glossa. The cost required to play your lightning forwards onto the field is reduced by 1. It cannot become 0. When Glocka or a forward enters your field, choose 1 forward. It gains 1,000 power until the end of the turn. So this is going to reduce the cost of all of his lightning forwards. So Nyx is going to become a 3 cost. His Aluas will become a 2 cost. It makes them all very cost efficient. Especially playing an Alua for 2 is very nice. Alright, so looks like he discarded a Glocka to play a Glossa? I don't know. Let me know in the comment below how you think I should be pronouncing Glocka. Maybe it's in the game. It's been a minute since I've played Final Fantasy 15. Actually, since release. I'll have to go back and play the Royal Edition with all the DLC at some point. Okay, so we have put out a Hasty Lightning. She's going to come in, deal 1 point of damage, and gets an EX Burst, a Reagan. Reagan is going to allow Lyle to add a character, or a forward or backup rather, from his break zone to his hand. Derek is having all the worst luck with hitting EXs today, and that's what we were talking about. So he's going to add the Opus 1 Shantoto to his hand to punish Derek's overextension, which he did because the Scale Toad was out. Now at the end of the turn, Lightning is going to return to his hand, and he won't have to discard because Scale Toad says 1 or 2 or less. Or 2 or more cards in their hand, then they have to discard. So Lightning's going to return to his hand, putting him at 1 card in hand. And again, if you're wondering how I know the damage numbers, how many are in their hand, it's towards the bottom of the screen. Alright, Kadaj is going to come back. Ah, yes. So if he plays the Shantoto, he loses his Kadaj as well. So actually, it's just almost as harmful for him to play the Shantoto. We don't know what effect he chose. I'm going to assume 2000 power and Brave. That is not what he chose. He chose to remove 2 cards from the break zone, which he removes Noctis and Nyx. So he's still in his main phase. He hasn't made any sort of movement to play anything. He's sitting on the right amount of cards to play a Sephiroth in an efficient manner. So he's going to dull 3. And play a Kuja by paying 5 ICP. He's going to probably dull freeze. It really doesn't matter which one of these he dull freezes. So he's going to dull freeze the Noctis. Because if he's going to block, he wants to make him block with the cost-reducing Glocka. He's going to attack with Kadaj. And now Derek knows that that Shantoto is in his hand. So whereas Glocka's going to allow him to spam the board easier, spamming the board becomes not the best option because Shantoto will just come out. I think next time I might have it where I can see their hands. That way we can get a little bit better analysis about what type of thoughts they might be having instead of me just speculating what kind of plays they're going to be making. If that sounds more interesting to you, please let me know. Write a comment send me a message, email me, fax me, beat me. I don't have a beeper or a fax machine. Please don't attempt to do either of those things. I won't see them. Alright, we're sitting on Derek's main phase. He's gone to his second main phase, skipping his attack phase. Obviously, he doesn't want to swing his 5,000 power Glocka into a 9,000 power Kuja. And the threat of that Shantoto looming is just terrifying. Alright, so he discarded to play Alua, putting him back at 1 in hand to avoid the Scale Toad. Alua costs 1 less because of Glocka. But again, that's committing to a board that can be Shantoto'd at any second. Lyle is in complete control of this game. He has all the threats. Kadaj and Kuja both can't really be stopped. And if he finds a way to kill the Kadaj and the Kuja, then Lyle just Shantotos and wipes the whole field. But until then, he's just going to continue to get attacks in with 2 9,000 attackers. But the more that Lyle commits to the board to try to deal damage over these smaller forwards, the more it's harmful for him to Shantoto. And the longer he's only dealing 1 damage at a time, the more likely it is that Derek can mount some sort of comeback. Okay, it looks like they're having some voice communication issues. Alright, so Kadaj came in, elected to use Kadaj's ability to dull Glocka. I wonder why he would have done that, though. I think he could have gone with the 2000 Brave on Kuja. That way he could attack with Kadaj and Kuja, get 2 points of damage in, or destroy some of Derek's forwards through battle, and then still have Kuja up as a blocker for the next turn. Sorry, not meaning to make you lose my screen on there. Alright, so we've attacked with Kuja. Derek took the damage, and an Odin was put into the damage zone. Now, it's one of the only non-EX Odins. It's an Odin you don't see very often. And next he's attacking with Kadaj. He gets the Noctis EX Burst. But this Noctis doesn't get anything on an EX Burst unless it is the 6th point of damage. On the 6th point of damage, if that Noctis is flipped into the damage zone, you choose an opponent's forward and break it. Now, this is a lot of content to be watching, so if you've stuck with me through round 1, round 2, and now round 3, where we're near the 25-minute mark, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I know the rest of the community does too. Hopefully, if you're new, you're interested, and you want to join us and play some card games, digital card games, because we're having the quarantine of our lives. Alright, so he's going to Renoa, choose Kuja to flicker out and replay. That's what she does. And then Kuja's effect is going to Dull Freeze the Noctis again. Alright, so it looks like Lyle had thought better about removing Kadaj with his effect and decided to keep him on the field. Alright, so Derek is going to break Minor to get Aranea back. Aranea is a new Opus 11 card. She gains 1,000 power for each forward you control other than herself. Whenever you're at 3 damage, which Derek is at 4, you can choose a lightning forward of cost 2 or less in your break zone, then play it onto the field. And at damage 6, she gains the forwards you control gain haste. There's some weird stuff going on, but it's probably down to us not being able to hear their communication. So Kadaj is off the field again. Oh, okay, so that was all still during Lyle's instep. Before Kadaj got removed from the game, Derek activated Minor to get back Aranea. Now it is Derek's turn, and Kadaj has been removed. So now we're all back on the same page. Everything that has happened is legal. Noctis was frozen, so he's not active. I think that Derek might be trying to set up a play to push 4 game with Aranea at 6 damage. I was wrong. He's going to play Aranea right now. Maybe he has a way to give everything haste. So he gets to play Lightning, who does have haste. So he has 4 attackers. He needs to deal 6 damage this turn. With 2 CP available. And 1 card in hand. Now he's playing right into this Shantoto. Okay, so he's going to pay 2 Earth CP for Gladio, whose cost is reduced from 4 down to 2 because he controls Noctis. I mean, he has to remember that the Shantoto's in there, right? Unless there's a point that it was discarded. But I can't imagine that he would have done that. But I don't want to go through that whole thing again, and look. So let's just assume that he's held on to the Shantoto. He's going to attack with the Lua. Lyle probably lets that go through. Nope, he is going to defend with Renoa. So one reason you would defend with Renoa there is so you can play another Renoa. Because once she's come out and done her effect of flickering a forward, you just want to do that again. Now, Derek is declaring a party attack. This is when... Okay, no, he's not. Nope, he is... I don't know, is he party attacking? Okay, he's not party attacking. They must be communicating in comms. So he's attacking with Glocka. Lyle takes a point of damage. He's attacking with lightning. Lyle takes another point of damage. It's now 3-4 in favor of Lyle in damage. He's gone to his second main phase and ended his turn. Now Kadaj should come back. But you have to assume that Lyle has held on to the Shantoto. And this turn he will attack with Kadaj and Kuja. I'm confused why the system is making Arnea and them all lose power. Again, this is a fan-made and run service called OCTGN, Octagon for short. And not everything is going to work perfectly. So bear with us while we try to navigate whatever's going on with that. I assume that Arnea is still several thousand higher than she is. There we go, okay, so Derek is now fixing their power levels. Arnea still an 11,000. Gladiolus back to a 9. Noctis should be back at a 5. Glocka back at a 5 as well. But you have to think that he has a way to get through the Arnea and the Gladio. He deals 2 points of damage, then Shantotos. Okay, the power situation has all been resolved. Apparently, Lyle's microphone is cutting in and out. So, while it looks like they're trying to resolve this microphone situation, I just want to take this moment to say I hope you're doing well. The world is a pretty crazy place right now, and some people might be falling on some hard times. I hope that you just remember that people are here for you. Don't forget to keep your physical distance, but socially stay connected because we need each other more than ever right now. I know that sounds super sarcastic, but I mean that. And still no gameplay is happening. So if you're watching this and you're new to Final Fantasy having a card game, because I know a lot of people probably think Final Fantasy has a card game, and you have any questions, please ask. I would love to answer your questions, and I know the rest of the people in our community would love to answer your questions and help you get started on this wonderful game. Alright, so we have an attack with Kadaj and a defense with Aranea. So what's happening is Lyle is attacking hoping that he can get a point of damage through, but ultimately he doesn't care. He plans on using Shantoto. And then just removing all of those forwards anyway. So might as well attack, see if you can get lucky. Which Derek took the point of damage, so it looks like that bet paid off for Lyle. So now Derek is at 5 damage, Lyle is at 3. The goal here is 7 damage. He's going to dull 3 backups, all being ice, so let's make sure that he discards an earth and it discards a Shantoto to gain 2 earth. Discards a Glacia to put him up to 7 CP to play Shantoto. Shantoto is on the field, it gains all the elements, and when Shantoto enters the field, remove all forwards from the game. So I don't know why Derek didn't block the last attack from Kuja, but now they're at a interesting point. So he's going to play Aranea, who, as I said earlier, at damage 3 lets you play a lightning forward of cost 2 or less onto the field, and he's going to play the haste lightning, so he's going to get in another point of damage. Alright, he's attacking with lightning. Lyle takes it, losing a Sid Reigns to the damage zone. At the end of his turn, he's going to return the lightning, then discard Cindy for the Scale Toad. Yeah, if only he could have gotten rid of this Scale Toad much earlier on. It's forced him into making a lot of aggressive plays. The damage is pretty close, but Lyle is at a resource advantage due to his 4 backups. Alright, we're nearing the 40-minute mark. Normally Final Fantasy games have a 30-minute time limit in a best-of-1 situation, and since we're all pretty new to using this digital interface, we're trying not to enforce time limits for the first couple weeks, but hopefully in the near future we can cut down these games. Alright, so he's going to use Squall's ability to dull freeze the Aranea. Squall has different abilities depending on what level of damage you're at. Lyle, being at damage 4, will get the first 2 abilities. If your opponent has 2 or less cards in their hand, choose a character, dull it. And then at damage 2, whenever Squall enters the field, choose a character, dull, and freeze it. So we know that Derek has the lightning in his hand. If he could have played the Lightning, then use Cindy to give Aranea Brave, that would have been pretty nice. Lyle's still sitting on a Shantoto to produce any element, and 2 cards in hand, so he can potentially play a Glacia. I'm assuming he's playing Glacia. I think we saw him play Glacia in his last game, actually. Alright, so he's going to Dull Regis, gain 1 Earth CP. His 3 cards in hand. Discards a Bahamut 0 and a Lightning. He's going to play an Ignis. Search for Noctis. So now all category 15 characters gain plus 1,000 power and Brave as well. Okay, so it looks like Lyle has a reaction. He's going to Sephiroth to dull the Ignis. And that will be game. Because next turn, we know all that Derek has is the Noctis in hand, and Lyle has 2 forwards that can attack. So if his 6 point of damage is a Noctis, and he can break another forward, he might get lucky here. So it's never over till the 7th damage hits. But it's not looking good. So he's going to attack with Squall, take a 6 point of damage, and it's Loosh, a backup non-EX burst. Sephiroth is going to attack for game. So Lyle wins our tournament and walks away with our small cash prize. Thank you guys for stopping in and watching all these videos, taking that time out of your day. We really appreciate it. Congratulations to Lyle on, I think, his first undefeated tournament win. Yep, I've been Brandon, and I guess I'll still be Brandon, but thanks for watching.